Hi everyone, welcome to another episode from the Expert Corner. We're tuning in live from the World Bank, IMF, and the Financial Times Pavilion. Who am I? I am Nara Mohamed, Thabiso Edkins Climate Ambassador. I'm excited to be here and talk on climate education, youth, and skills, which happen to be the themes of today's COP. So to do just that, we have a very esteemed guest. We have Dr. Benveniste, who happens to be the Global Director for Education at the World Bank. Welcome, Dr. Luis.
Thank you, Nada. It's great to be here.
All right, straight to the questions, I guess. My first question will be touching upon all the three themes that we're tackling in this COP. I wanted to ask you, with the growing calls for a just green transition, what are the essential skills that youth need to acquire in order to keep up with this transition, especially youth that are currently working in carbon-intensive as well as climate-sensitive jobs, and of course women, who happen to be one of the most impacted categories in this conversation?
So the green transition will imply a huge transformation in labor markets. And as such, there will be like a need to rethink and prepare the future workers on how to, operate in this environment. And so the education sector will need to play an important role. Green skills are most often more highly technical skills. So you first will require that the entire population has very strong foundations. So investing in foundational skills, basic numeracy, basic literacy, social-emotional skills for communication and problem solving will all be critical, so that to have that very strong foundation to being able to acquire those deeper, more technical skills that will be required in the green transition. Now, in that sense, I think that having a technical vocational education and training system that is more modular, that is more flexible, that is more adaptable, that can help upskill, green skill current workers, people that are outside the education system already, will also be very important. So to enable that movement, as well as the role that, for example, universities will play to deepen the research, to deepen their R&D capacity, to again enhance the greening of the labor market. A big question, though, is that there is the possibility for deepening inequalities. As green jobs are more highly technical jobs, and also have tended to be more male-dominated jobs, to ensure the incorporation of women, to ensure possibilities for those that are coming from more disadvantaged backgrounds, will be key to ensure equity. And that means availability of scholarship programs, of conditional cash transfers, of having MOOCs or hybrid learning that can expand learning opportunities for all.
That's super insightful. Thanks a lot for explaining everything. It's truly a dilemma to try to advance development and leave no one behind, but hopefully with your suggestions everything's gonna be better. But I have another question in that regard. When we talk about green skills as well as youth in general, we automatically think that the government has to provide scholarships or to integrate something in the curriculum, or that the youth themselves have to take it upon themselves to, for instance, go and provide themselves these courses. But we always exclude from the conversation very two influential stakeholders, the teachers as well as the parents. You have the teachers who had voiced time and time again the lack of readiness for teaching climate curriculum, and then the parents who play a huge influence on a child's learning, and how some green careers are taboo. For instance, in my country, Egypt, the conventional career paths would be medicine or engineering. Renewable energy is something that is unheard of. So how can we try to incorporate stakeholders like teachers as well as parents into the conversation and direct them towards the right path and to influence better their child's future?
So we know that schools have really an important role in how to promote pro-climate and to promote climate action. And so in that sense, I think that how to support teachers in that venture is really critical. So in that sense, how to ensure that the official school curricula has elements of, for example, instilling green citizenship. We also, for example, we've done a survey in 5 countries that highlights that while 80% of teachers express that school curricula does have some elements of environmental awareness, also about 70% of teachers responded wrong a basic question on climate awareness. Yes, so in that sense I think that it's important to prepare teachers as well as to have an enabling environment for them to be able to support the very important role that schools have in getting the next generation ready to take action on climate, and again how to instill this climate values, climate friendly awareness to prevent pro-social behavior that is climate friendly. Is all it's both a shared responsibility of households and schools.
Yeah.
But we know that, for example, also the way that schools influence children, as there is a correlation between how also students impact their parents' values. So again, there is a two-way door between schools and families that can have the opportunity to become a virtuous circle. I don't know, you haven't left school that long ago. What is your take? What was your experience?
For me, I think school, it was an interesting experience. I think, in my case, theories that were taught in the book was quite detached from the reality. And that is why when I grew up and I became part of the Global Shapers community, I tried to change the system a little bit by incorporating some sorts of non-formal education that will create this emotional attachment for people with what is happening around them. Because even if you're living in a developing country, if you're living in the urban area, you would not be quite touching what's happening in climate change quite as someone in the rural area. So trying to find this marriage out of sight, out of mind. That's why we advocated for people to let's go meet the farmers, like go meet the fishermen, the people who are clearly impacted, and let's capture that through photos, through music, through pictures, and to make things less technical, because nobody likes long reports, nobody likes big names like mitigation adaptation. Something that all people will agree upon is a picture that captures the essence of the suffering of the people. A field trip, a talk, the storytelling that will allow people to truly understand what is happening on the ground and to connect them with their own actions and how they can, in their own capacities, amplify their individual actions. So I think incorporating non-formal education within the formal school system is quite important in order to try to penetrate this huge emotional gap that some individuals might experience. But yeah, that's me. So I think you asking me this question is kind of an opener for my next question, which is, as someone who's been practicing climate education for quite some time, there has always been this pressure of how can we make the people, the beneficiaries of our program, act upon the education that we have conferred to them post the expiration of the program state. Because you go there, you teach people, you provide them with different educational skills, for instance, and then you leave the educational system or you leave the program for some while, and then most of the time you find that the knowledge that you have conferred to them is kind of lost. So how can we tackle that gap? How can we try to fill it?
So I think that we are at COP 28. There have been 27 COPs before, and this is the first year where we have an education day. Yeah. And I think that to me the big message is that investing in education is investing in climate action. And so in that sense, that's the path to sustainability. As I mentioned before, we know that education participation is very strongly associated with climate friendliness, climate awareness, climate friendly values, and actually, climate behavior, pro-climate behavior. So, in that sense, I think that the path to sustainability is to invest in education. Now, we also need to make sure that education systems are protected from the impact of climate change. We know that weather shocks, for example, have led to very large school closures
Yeah.
all across the world. 3.5 million children in Pakistan were affected by the recent floods. 800 schools were closed down in Mozambique last year, due to the storms that took place. So in that sense, again, I think that we need to ensure that education systems are resilient, and so they can continue to be protected from climate change, while at the same time so they can do their job, which is instilling important climate-friendly values.
Yeah, that is perfect. And on that note, I'd love to continue this conversation for quite some time, but I'm quite aware that we're running out of time. But thank you so much, Luis, for having this conversation with me. And I'm sure that everybody got amazing insights from our conversation. If you have any question, please drop them in the comment section. Hopefully we'll get back to you. That's me. I hope that you enjoyed our expert corner for the day, and see you soon.